Hey y'all, thank you so much for tuning in once again. So this is going to be part 2 of my memoirs. I've been sitting here kind of like for the last 2 days trying to really figure out, okay, so where do I go next with this, right? And then I remember Spirit says, just flow. Just do whatever, right? So y'all stay with me here, okay? Because I'm really trying to figure out this and navigate through this journey here that I am being called to do, all right? So what I feel like I want to do though is like just pull a card. I want to see what Spirit wants me to touch bases on, and then that's how I'm going to dictate what part 2 of Memoirs of Ahyoka is going to be about. So I do encourage you to go back to part 1 to definitely, tune into that to see what I had to say. It's a whole lot to my story, you guys. And I know it may seem like it could be like all over the place at some points, but I definitely feel like I do have something that I can contribute to your story as well to help you to overcome some of the things that you have been through. But let me see here. Let me touch bases with my cards real quick. Okay, see what's going on. Thank you, my spirit team. Thank you for guiding me as I embark on part 2 of Memoirs of Ahyoka. Thank you for speaking through me, giving me the courage to do this journey. And so it is. All right, y'all. So, my spirit team, what is it that you want me to talk about tonight? The magician. And what I just heard was how you became the magician. Okay, so you guys, I've been working on myself for probably a while. I told you about that in part 1, but to sum it up, I think it's been about 4 years maybe, or say 2016 to 2022, so maybe about 5 years, something like that, right? I'm trying to think like how long it's been. I'm really gonna write these numbers down. I really am, and so I can just get a good grasp of like what it is. So when I tell people like, yeah, it's been about 20 years, it's been about this, I don't know nothing about time, y'all. Like, time is an illusion to me. I don't give me times, period. Okay, because I just be like, you said be there what time? Okay, I'll be there, and then be when I'm ready, right? But however, y'all, I let's say about 5 years ago, I literally started working on myself, and I started working on my alignment. And the way that I started was through Abraham Hicks. Okay, so first, before that, I was having if I remember the night, y'all, I was going through my divorce. And that night I was crying. I was crying so bad, y'all. I was on my own, for the first time in a long time. And of course my son was there with me, but laying in my bed by myself, okay? Not having my ex-husband there, it was kind of terrifying going into that journey. And I was hurting. I was in so much pain, y'all. And I'm telling you, some of the stuff that I was feeling, oh my God, y'all. Some of the things that I was seeing and experiencing, it was deep. It was more on a spiritual level, y'all. And I'm definitely going to get into detail about all of that stuff too. But I remember laying there that night and I was crying, and I just kept saying, Elohim, Elohim, help me, show me the way. I want to, I want better for myself. I want to be able to change my whole life. Okay, and that's where it began, that journey. I can't remember the days, can't remember the times. I know it was late, and I know I lost a lot of sleep, but I spent a lot of my days isolated, so that's why I don't really remember, the times and things so well. I stopped being so attached to timing because I always had a plan for my life, and every time I made plans, it never worked out. So that's how I seen it. So I stopped really attaching myself to timelines and time period. But I remember, saying that like to myself. And I'm telling you, I started being open up to a whole new world of stuff. Let's just put it that way. I've always been spiritually connected. I just didn't understand it. Like I spoke in part 1 of my video, I would run from it. But I went to work that next day. Okay, so I was working for State Farm, John Bug at the time, and it was this young lady that was working in there with me. So she never told me about this aspect or this side of herself that was like kind of spiritually in tune. So we didn't really connect in that kind of way because it was work. So one day her father, he was walking past and she said, what do you know? Dad on my dad. She said, I want you to meet him. I don't know why. She just wanted me to meet this guy. So I go out there, she grabs him. She's like, Dad, I want you to meet my coworker. And I was like, he was like, hey, how you doing? My name's Elohim. Sign number one. I bust out laughing and he hugged me. The way he hugged me like I was his daughter. Okay, it was so weird. He's like one of my first spiritual mentors. He always just knows. He knows. He can feel when something is wrong. Bam, he calls, he texts. And he was like, when he hugged me, once he finished hugging me, he said, you called for me. Let me tell you, he was like, I am a messenger of God. You called for me. And I'm understanding it now. Wow, that I'm talking this through. And I just cried because I was like, what? I said, you wouldn't believe last night I laid in my bed and I cried and I cried and I cried and I've been asking for answers. And I just kept saying, Elohim, Elohim, I need help. And for you to show up today, he was like, yeah, I want you to come out to a meeting. And this meeting should help you, right? I know I'm picking with my lashes, y'all. They drive me nuts. I get them filled in tomorrow, okay? I get individuals. So yeah, the weather here is crazy. So I'm kind of like rubbing them out because my eyes are itching. I have severe allergies, y'all. But yes, I am taking massive stuff, okay? But yeah, back to my story because I know I'll be jumping all over the place. But however, he was like, I want you to go to this place and meet me there. And there's some other spiritual sisters and things like that, brothers that are there that are on this journey. And I want you to meet them. So I was like, all right, cool. I didn't really want to go, but I was like, all right. He's like, I'll shoot you the address later. The address he sent me, y'all. Let me tell y'all about this. Let me get a drink of water. Get a drink of water real quick. The address he sent me was the address to my very first hair salon. Okay, I'm a natural hair care stylist, y'all, by trade. My very first hair salon I had when I was the age of 21. He was like 2441 St. Paul Street. I said, get the out of here, y'all. Yes, I had to cuss, okay? Get out of here. I was like, when I met him there, I was like, you would not believe that my very first hair salon was here, called Natural Elements Inc. And he was like, what? I was like, yes. He was like, this how you know it's divinely guided. You're supposed to be here. Let me tell you how God works, okay? How the universe works. Let me tell you how divine order and how God does have a plan. Even though it seems like the process is slow and it feels like a slow death, y'all. I be feeling like torture, right? But you eventually get there because we have to go through these cycles to grow up and to learn and to heal, especially when you ask for help in the capacity that I did. Let me tell y'all the name of the place. It was called Ancient Cometic or Sacred Cometic. It was like the Sacred Cometic something, right? Oh, it was something Cometic. I wish I could remember it, right? But the thing is, I had a dream, and I dream record because I'm a seer. I get a lot of visions, so I take and I write them down in my phone. I got years of my dreams written down in my phone. But I had wrote down, I had a dream that night before, and the dream was basically telling me to learn about sacred Cometic, ancient Cometic teachings. Ancient Cometic teachings. That's what the dream was telling me to learn about, or to connect with something involving that. I'm not sure, right? But it was kind of weird because the dream did kind of scare me because it was almost like a contract or something that was taking place. And that's what I started reading up on the Kabbalah or something like that, right? But I still really don't understand that as much. I haven't really connected with that to be able to like fully, have an opinion about it. But I know it's about I know it's about laws, basically. I believe it's about that alignment for manifesting universal laws and things like that, if I'm not mistaken. But at the time, again, like I said, I really didn't understand it because I'm a newbie at it. But yeah, that's where the name of her salon was something Cometic, something. I cannot remember the whole thing, but I remember Cometic in there and standing out. And I was like, God dang it. Another sign, right? Okay, so this is how it all began. So but when I put out that call, you know, Spirit immediately showed up. It didn't take no time. It was almost as if my ancestors and my angels are like, about goddamn time. Okay, now going back to that night, y'all. That night I was it was like that whole week leading up, after me and my ex had really decided to separate. It may have, yeah, it had to been within that week. Like I said, I'm lost for time. I don't even remember anything involving that. I was just like existing, right? And before everything took place, we had finally got into, like, it was this one major argument that we got into, and that really solidified everything, the ending. But my ex had wanted to get a divorce, basically. And I didn't really want it. So I was brought up in a Christian foundation where it was like, you know, fight for your family, go in your prayer closet, war. And I was doing all of that stuff. But God was really trying to remove me from that situation. And I kept trying to pray myself back in it, right? And it just got to the point where it got really bad. It got so bad, y'all. To the point that it was just like, no, we can't do this any longer. We can't keep operating in this manner. So I remember one night it started to trickle down and unfold, and I can't remember the order, but I remember that one night he was at the other woman's house. He had showed up there and he just started, you know, doing some things that he shouldn't have been doing. And that night he ended up going to jail. So he really went up there just being real hostile, of course, and angry. I don't know what she did. I didn't ask. And I just so happened to go up there, you know, because the car was there. The police were picking up everything. So he just like, can you come up here, please? So I went. Don't ask me what I was thinking. I did. But it was starting to like unfold before me, where I was just starting to realize, you know, like, yeah, we're at this point now where it's nothing else that can really save us, right? But I was the only one that had seemed to calm him down in that moment. So I don't know if that was why he wanted me there or what, or just to get the car. I have no idea. So mission was accomplished with that. But that night he had called me from prison and basically was like, I'm so sorry. Like, he apologized. He deeply apologized because I should have never been put in that predicament. But we understood at that point that, you know, it's time for us to really go our separate ways. But even though I was still kind of like really holding on. And then I had went away to Florida, and I went to go see my aunt and them down there. And he was still like, did you sign the papers? Did you do this, do that, right? But that ain't how the process go. Basically, you got to have the papers served. You got to do all this other stuff. So I don't know. I think like he was kind of like bluffing me. I don't know. I feel like that because when I went down there to officially do it myself, that wasn't the process. But however, when I got back, he was like, did you do the paperwork? Da, da, da. And I'm like, I ain't do nothing. Like, I didn't. Because in my mind, I'm like, God gonna work it. Oh, okay. I believe in Almighty God. God's gonna work this out. God believes in marriages, right? All devout Christian and everything, right? So I'm like, yeah, nah. But it got so bad to the point. He got so angry, he just started throwing stuff all around. He just started throwing stuff, including me, okay? And my son was there, and he literally was like trying to break up the fight. But at that moment, again, that's when it started to solidify and set in again, when I seen my 16-year-old son having to witness that and having to try to stand up and protect me. And I knew, like, yeah, we got to bring this to an end. I have to heal. I have to work on myself. I cannot keep functioning like this. I have a child that's watching me, and he's going to think I'm weak. And this is the example that he's going to, you know, carry on when it comes to him and his relationship. So I have to be better and stronger for myself. And that's when I began starting to work on my life and everything. And we were fine. Like after that night and everything blew over, later on that night his mom came down there and got me or whatever, but we talked over our differences. We stayed that night together because I think I ended up going back home. We stayed that night together. We didn't say a word to each other. We slept in the same bed. His back turned one way, my back turned one way. He woke up the next morning, went to work. By the time he came back, 10:05, 1 o'clock. By the time he came back, he got all of his stuff and he moved. But we knew, like, and we were at peace with it. It was almost like, cycle ended. But I started at, you know, after that, after he left and everything, and I was going through my little dark night or whatever, I started like pulling oracle cards for myself to try to get answers, because it's like I'm getting these dreams. I would sleep all the time. I would sleep purposely because I needed answers. Okay, so I would go to sleep just so I could get the answers in my dreams. And then I started pulling oracle because I'm like, I can't keep sleeping the night and days away. Like, so I went, got oracle cards, started learning how to do that, and I would read that for myself and getting answers. Then I started listening to Abraham Hicks. Abraham Hicks started speaking into me, and it was resonating with me for the most part, you know, about how to change or reprogram your thinking and the way you feel about life and the way you feel about your situations and period. Like just really just starting to change how that feeling, your vibration. So you notice I always talk about your frequency, your energy. Like you got to be a vibrational match. You got to feel good on the inside. You can't just be like, yeah, everything is working out for my highest good, and then on the inside of you like, this ain't working, oh, my stomach hurt, like, you know, not fully totally healed. It's about your alignment. Okay, and so I was on that journey for about a year or so, reprogramming my thinking through guided meditation, through acupuncture, through Reiki, going outside, exercising, staying in the park, moving my body. I changed my eating habits. Like I'm talking about, I'm working on myself all around. It took years. I'm not gonna lie, because of course it takes a lot of shedding old skin, dying to self. So I had to reprogram my thinking. I still, you know, work on it. I still occasionally listen to guided meditation, which is basically, I'm not listening to the talking because that drives me nuts, but I listen to the solfeggio sounds while I go to sleep, because it gets deep within your subconscious mind and it helps to start reprogramming some stuff. But I would listen to that every night, like straight, 4 years straight. I was doing that 4 or 5 years straight. I was doing that. Just doing a lot of inner work. And then as I was doing this stuff and releasing things, let me tell you, I started seeing my life transform. Like things begin to change. I started to begin manifesting and attracting opportunities and situations to myself. You know, like I literally manifested my career off of a master's degree. I should, you know, they prefer to have people in the department who have doctorate's degree. But I was able to come in as an adjunct, you understand, and then I ended up turning around a year later and manifested an actual full-time position because another professor actually left the department, which opened the door for me to have the opportunity to get in. Like, let me tell you, like, everything was just aligning, and I'm like, yeah, I should have did this a long time ago. Like, you mean to tell me all I had to do was drop the dead weight? Okay, and boom, I would take off. Like, it took me 20 years to get this. I just seen 1808 on the clock. But however, yeah, you know, the power of manifestation is so important for us to learn how to use our tools that we have, because everything is literally already at our fingertips, y'all. We have all the tools we need to manifest our spiritual bases, our physical aspects, mental, emotional, all of the resources that we have. We can combine that together and literally become a powerhouse. Okay, let me tell you. And this is what I'm here and what I do as a light worker and through the oracle card readings and things like that, is to help you to get into alignment so that you can begin to manifest this life that you deserve, right? Because ain't you tired of struggling to see progress? Okay, so what I'm doing now, I'm getting in alignment with the call. My spirit team says, bam, the next step for you to do is to start to speak your story. Okay, to testify however way you see fit. It ain't even gotta have no rhyme, no reason, no order, no nothing. Just turn on the phone and record. Okay, and then through this, I'm showing you, I'm trying, you know, to show you guys how to release what doesn't serve you, to also let you know that you're not in this alone. Okay, I've gone through what you've gone through. You've gone through what I've gone through. Some of us more than the others, but however, it's like we're here together to help each other to elevate. That's what this is about. All right, so I want to be able to help you to see progress. Okay, and let me see, is there anything else, Spirit Team, you want me to say here? All right, because I'm like almost at 20 minutes and I didn't want to go past 15, right? But I wanted to make sure I was able to explain my story in detail, y'all. So let me see, because I know sometimes I just be like straight to the point. I won't say everything that's necessary. But it says, let me see something. Oh, like the cards literally keep falling. So it says a time to give rather than a time to take, and adjustments are required. And start to, you know, even with your dreams, start to have some type of practical plan about what it is that you want to do for yourself. What are your dreams? What is it that you need? What is it that you desire? Okay, start to come up with your plan so that you can begin to move forward with that. Now, with the new moon in Virgo card, it's basically saying that it's time to be really honest with yourself and understand what leads you to ask your question. Have you been humble to the point of being self-effacing? Humility is good, but it can go too far. And drawing this card suggests you may be underrating yourself. You don't have to be flashy, just quietly certain that you are good enough. At the other end of the scale, you also need to honestly answer the question, have you been too picky? So the full moon in Virgo card needs some truthful answers. Once you have given them, it should be easier to see how you got where you are. Your next step should then be more obvious to you. So pay attention to the details. Hard work brings results. Find a balance between the cosmic and the mundane in your everyday life. But do not worry too much because you will attract more things to worry about. You don't want to mess up your manifestations, honey, okay? Don't be overly critical. Apologize if you have to. Don't second guess yourself, okay? And raise your karma by doing something good for someone else. But however, pay attention to your intuition here, okay? Because the next step to what you need to do is going to be more obvious to you and it will be revealed. And I'm listening to that for myself as well, okay? And then adjustments may be required. Hopefully, I was hoping I could just flip right through it real quick, but of course, I'm going to have to look in the index because it's not showing up. Here we go. Is this it? Yep. Think of yourself as a vessel that has been filled more and more over the past few weeks. Some of what has come your way may have been wonderful, but there's a lot of negativity and you need to let go of this. Whatever situation you're asking about, now be honest about whether there are toxic emotions involved, which you need to release into the ethers. This card also comes with the promise that all is not lost. However, there are changes or adjustments required before you will get to where you need to go, where you want to be. A change of course is in the forecast now. The recent events have been understood and acted upon. There may also be a crisis now which will remind you what you want and what it's time to let go of. So pay attention. You hear the key words, pay attention, because you're being shown what you need to do next. And of course, adjustments may definitely be required here. But it's okay, because what I feel like is it's aligning you here to get your life back in balance, okay? Because you may be out of balance in some kind of way. This could be causing some of the issues in your life, all right? But it is definitely a time to hatch, you know, a whole new plan, all right? Something new and exciting is around the corner, but trust may be required to move your situation forward. So this teaching is basically trying to tell you to release and to trust no matter what, okay? No matter what, whatever you're being guided to do, just like I spoke of earlier, I just got a call from, you know, I guess a spiritual call. You know, it's time for me to move into another direction here, okay? Just trust the process and just go with the flow. And again, like I said, through me, my spirit team is going to drop the jewels you need to help you to learn what you should be paying attention to and to get into alignment so that you'll be able to keep yourself on that path of what the divine has for you. All right, y'all. So I love you guys. Until we meet again. Peace.